All of a sudden, it's December. It's very cold as well. We've been predicted -5 tonight. That is very cold. But we have got compost in this shed that's not frozen solid, unlike quite a few things outside. And although they are frozen, they are still looking healthy and they're still going to grow because they're very hardy plants. And you might be thinking there's not really anything to do through December. And I will admit that there's probably a lot of people that just can't be bothered. And I don't blame you for that after having such an horrendous year weather-wise, and now we're approaching winter. But we've got things growing in here. We're covering them with bubble wrap and fleece just to give them that extra bit of protection. But you can still start some seed sowings at this late part of the season. And I'm going to be starting off a couple as well. We have got trays in here with seeds in. Nothing's germinated at the moment. I was going to take these in last night and I completely forgot. The soil, as I said, is not frozen, so hopefully we're still going to get something. Those little gem lettuces I've actually started putting on a bit of size now. So it just shows you that even though it is so cold, there are some things that are willing to keep on trying. So with that in mind, let's have a look at what we can sow and grow in December. One thing that you can be doing at this time of year is planting any fruit trees, like pears. If you've got hold of some good sized ones, you can pop them straight in ground and overwinter them. They'll soon start growing in early spring. And also, apart from that, any fruit bushes that you can get hold of. Because it's come to end at season, you might have a place near you that's doing sales. So things like gooseberries, blackberries and blueberries. If you can get hold of those, you can get those put into decent sized pots and get them to start putting some roots down. And then in early spring, you're going to see some growth. So if you've not already got fruit bushes and like to get some going next year, then have a look round, see if you can drop on any bargains. If you're in a position where you don't really want to grow anything outside, you can grow some things indoors. We've already covered microgreens in previous videos, so you could flick back to those videos and take a look. Because you can just grow little trays of those on your windowsill. As long as you've got some sun coming in, they'll be alright. And you just need to multi-sow lots of seeds into a little tray and then harvest them when they're a few inches tall, and they make a nice little garnish. Or you could grow some herbs indoors as well. Things like coriander and basil. We started off parsley and we've now got a big bunch in it in a container, and that's still doing really well. But I've got some more seeds for parsley left, so I'm probably going to sow a few more of those, but I'll get those started indoors as well. Anything that you want to grow at this time of year, especially with temperatures we're getting at the moment, in my opinion, is always better off started indoors. It's going to save you any problems with seeds rotting. If it's too cold, they're not going to germinate anyway. So where you can accommodate them, take them indoors, put them in a conservatory or on a windowsill, or even underneath your stairs if it's warm there, because they don't need light until they've actually germinated. So as long as you can keep them warm up until that point, your plants are going to be on the way. I'm using some of these old margarine tubs. We save loads of them because they're quite deep. They don't take up lots of space and you can put them in rows and have all different things in them. All you need to do is make a few holes at the bottom for drainage. And on an average windowsill, you could probably get about 10 of those. We've had some growing outside, and this is one example of how hardy these plants are, because these are those little gems. I've just shown you the ones that were transplanted, and this is the original container that we're growing them in. Just a little plastic one with holes in bottom. These have been outside all week. This compost is very hard because it's frozen, but the plants are still perfectly alright. So I could take those indoors, thaw this out, prick those little plants out, and then pot them on, and we've got an head start straight away. But if you just want to start some off from scratch, use something like that. It's going to take a small amount of compost. You're not paying any money out for containers or anything like that. If you've got grow lights, brilliant. If you haven't, we've also got a video showing you the lights that we use indoors and the little square ones that you can buy off eBay. And they only run at 5 watts each, so that'd be a cheapest option to give your plants that little bit of extra light that they're going to need until these light levels start to improve. I'm starting off some basil today. I'm going to do another container and mixed lettuce leaf, and I'm starting off some onions as well. We've already got some sown in a container next to me, but again, they've not germinated yet, so there's no problem in starting off some more. You get lots and lots of onion seeds in your packs. And what we're going to do with these is start them off, and we're going to grow those as single onions so we can get some nice big ones. And I'll just pot them on if I need to try and get even bigger ones, but the majority I'm going to be using as just regular sized bulbs. So we want to get these started now, even though normally you'd do it after Christmas. We can still start some now, and then we can get those planted outside once they've reached a really good size in early spring. And also, if you wanted to, you could start some shallots off as well. They are very hardy plants, so you could get some of those going, and the best way to do that is to grow them in cells as individual ones. If you remember, when we was planting onion sets early in here, we was putting lots of onion sets into trays, just something like that. We just filled them with compost, and then we put those sets in and just shoved them down until tops were only sticking out, just that pointed little bit sticking out at soil. And they will grow in here quite happily for quite a while, because they will be growing very slowly. You'll see the green tips start to appear, and then once they've reached a really good size and light levels improve and it starts to get a bit warmer, you've got them ready there to plant outside. So you could try some shallots, and we do the same things with the onions. We'll transplant them into something like that when we've grown them from seed, and then we'll move them on into something bigger as we need to. And because we do a lot of container garden as well, we could also just grow them in containers and leave them in greenhouse and not outdoors. But the advantage of doing it like that is once they've got a really good established root system and you do plant them outside, you'll be able to push them down firmly, and then the birds won't pull them out, because sometimes they're mistaken for worms. So we are doing a few things today. The first thing that I need to do is just make holes in these containers, and I'm just pushing that screwdriver through the bottom in between slats on this table. That makes it really easy. And I'll just put 6 to 8 holes in the bottom of this container. That's going to be plenty. So quick and easy, and we've got plenty of holes in the bottom of there. And then we can just pop a bit of compost in. And as we said, it's not taking a lot. I'm not filling it to the top, I'm just part filling it, and then I'm compressing it down with another tub at the same size. Just makes that job so easy. And that's going to leave us a gap or an inch or more from the level of that compost to the top of this tub, which means we can do what we've been doing since very start of the year, covering it up with cling film to keep that moisture in while those seeds germinate. So this first one, I'm going to do basil. We've not had much luck with basil this year at all. I'm determined to get some at some point, so I'm going to put quite a lot of seeds in here. Basically I'm multi-sowing it over the surface, and if we have the option of separating any plants off, I'll do that as well. I've just given that compost a bit of a spray with some water, just to moisten it. And now we've got the seeds on, I'm just going to very lightly cover it. Just enough to cover those seeds. We don't want to bury them too deep, and that should do it. I'll just settle that down a little bit. I'll give that another spray of water, and then we'll take that indoors, put some cling film over the top, and that's one done. And I'm going to do the same thing with some mixed salad leaf as well. And I know you don't want salad at this time of year, but I just like to have a little bit on side at plate whenever possible. And just because it's winter, it doesn't mean we can't eat salads. And there's no way that if I do fancy some at any point, I'm going to be going out and buying any. So we're starting some off again for that reason. Plus, we're trying to keep that continuation going. We've got those plants behind us that are growing very slowly, so we'll start some more off in these tubs, and again we'll take them indoors. So once again, just part filling it, flattening it down, and then we'll multi-sow seeds in here because we're picking these for salad leaves. Doing multi-sowing and doing microgreens is a really good way to use up any seeds that you've got left at end of year that might be going out of date. You'll still get something out of them. So I've just sprinkled quite a lot of seeds over the top of there. And again, that compost has been moistened. A very light covering of compost, just until we see those seeds disappear. Not compacting it down. And that's that one done. Then I'm going to do my onions, but I'm going to do those a little different. I'm going to put them in these cells. They're very small, and we're only wanting to get one onion from each cell. But we are going to put more than one seed in, just so we can guarantee some germination. Onions don't like the roots being disturbed too much, so we don't want to plant lots all together in a big bunch and then have to tear them apart later. We reserve that for things like spring onions because they will stay as a clump and get planted out like that to grow together as a bunch of spring onions. But when it comes to regular onions, ideally you don't want to be separating them off. You can grow onions multi-sown and grow about 4 or 5 onions together, but once again you'd be taking them out and planting them as they are. On this occasion we're going to be separating them. So rather than putting them into a tub like that and having to pull them all apart at the roots, we're just going to put a couple of seeds in and then we'll select the best plant if two do grow. And again, the very small cells, they don't take a lot of compost up. So as we did before, use the same size cells to compress that compost down, and then that job's done all in one go. And then just top it off. And this one is also going to go indoors. With it being quite compact, again I'll pop that on kitchen windowsill just to help that germination process. And these are just regular onions, but you can plant Japanese overwintering onions if you want, and they can go outside because they're very cold hardy. But these are ones that we're trying to grow to a decent size so that we can then plant them out in early spring again. We've got quite a few seeds in this packet, but this is one of these packs that's gone out of date, so we need to use them up anyway. So all I'm doing is just making a slight indentation in top of these cells. Not too deep. I'm sure you've seen me do it on previous videos, but we get new subscribers all the time, so it's nice to go over things again so everybody knows exactly what they're doing. And then we're just dropping a couple of seeds in each. And if you want to grow spring onions, you can sow some of those as well. And once again, you could grow those indoors, especially if you grow them like I do, because I only grow them for the green tops. But you can start your spring onions off right now. Get them multi-sown, 7 to 10 seeds per cell, and once they get to a good size, again, get them planted outside. But I will plant them outside in late winter, early spring, just to give them a chance. But if you just want the green tops like we do, grow them indoors, and you can harvest those more than once. They will grow back again. So you've got a nice little bit of onion greens, and they're pretty versatile to use in cooking and on salads. So another really quick, easy job. And this is a lot of onions in a very small space. I think some of these I've probably dropped 3 or 4 in, but it doesn't matter. As I said, they're old seeds, and we're just improving his chances of getting something. And then I'm just going to lightly cover those again. So a light covering, just wipe that top off, and that's then done. So now we've got onions, basil and lettuce on way. But obviously the other things that I've mentioned you can still do as well. If you want to get some shallot sets, if you can get any at this time of year, get those started. Another good thing to grow at this time of year is certain herbs, things like coriander, because they bolt in the summer when it gets too hot, along with spinach. We've got a container of spinach behind me, which is growing very slowly, but it is still growing, and we all know that spinach goes to seed as soon as it gets too warm. So that's another one of those plants that you could be starting off right now. At least you know you're going to get something for it, even if you've got to wait a little bit longer than you'd have to in spring or summer. And with this video, we'll now have a full year's playlist, which we've been making up since January. What to sow, month by month. And this being December is the last one of that series. So now over winter, you can look back over those videos and see what we can be growing in January and February and getting your seeds ready for that. And as well as ordering your seeds, you can be sorting out your containers and your raised beds. And you've got a perfect guide to start you off come 2024. We will be doing a few more things over the coming weeks, and if you're interested in see what they are, please hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and I'll see you next time. Take care.